Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Stottar Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Samsthapakacharya Savior of the whole world Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagni Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, Lord Krishna shows the universal form. Text number 49. Jatayor now Mahadeve Jatayornau Mahadeve Bhuvi Vishveshware Harau Bhuvi Vishveshware Harau Bhaktihi Syat Parama Loke Bhakti Syat Parama Loke Yaya Anjaha Durgatim Taret Yayanjo Durgatim Tarel Jatayornau Mahadeve Bhuvi Vishveshware Hara Bhakti Syat Paramaloke Yayanjo Durgatim Tare Jatayornau Mahadeve Bhuvi Vishveshware Hara Bhakti Syat Paramaloke Yayanjo Durgatim Taret Jatayornau Mahadeve Bhuvi Vishveshware Hara Bhakti Syat Paramaloke Yayanjo Durgatim Taret Jatayornau Mahadeve Bhuvi Vishveshware Harau Bhakti Syat Paramaloke Yayanjo Durgatim Taret Jatayo. After we too have taken birth. This got a reference to the previous verse. The we too refers to Dhara, Drona and Dhara. Now, both husband and wife, Drona and Dhara, Mahadeve, in the Supreme Person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhuvi, on the earth, Vishva Ishvare, in the Master of all the planetary systems, Harau, in the Supreme Lord, Bhakti, devotional service, Syat, will be spread, Parama, the ultimate goal of life, Loke, in the world, Yaya, by which, Anjaha, very easily, Durgatim, miserable life, Taret, one can avoid and be delivered. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Drona and Dhara said, "Please permit us to be born on the planet Earth, so that after our appearance the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller and Master of all planets, will also appear and spread devotional service, the ultimate goal of life, so that those born in this material world may very easily be delivered from the miserable condition of materialistic life by accepting this devotional service. Please repeat this translation after me. Dronandhara said, "Please permit us to be born on the planet Earth so that after our appearance, the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller and Master of all planets, will also appear and spread devotional service, the ultimate goal of life, so that those born in this material world may very easily be delivered from the miserable condition of materialistic life by accepting this devotional service." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This statement by Drona clearly indicates that Drona and Dhara are the eternal father and mother of Krishna. Whenever there is a necessity of Krishna's appearance, Drona and Dhara appear first, and then Krishna appears. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that his birth is not ordinary. Janma karma chame divyam. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmamayaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. This is a quotation from Bhagavad Gita 4.6. Before Krishna's appearance, Drona and Dhara appear in order to become his father and mother. It is they who appear as Nanda Maharaj and his wife Yashoda. In other words, it is not possible for a sadhana siddha, living being, to become the father or mother of Krishna, for Krishna's father and mother are already designated. But by following the principles exhibited by Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda and their associates, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, ordinary living beings, may attain such affection as exhibited by Nanda and Yashoda. When Drona and Dhara were requested to beget children, they chose to come to this world to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son, Krishna. Krishna's appearance means paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. The devotees are protected and the miscreants are vanquished. Whenever Krishna comes, he distributes the highest goal of life, devotional service. He appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the same purpose, because unless one comes to devotional service, one cannot be delivered from the miseries of the material world. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Where the living beings struggle for existence. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita in 15.7, Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karishyati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Because of conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entities are struggling to become happy, but unless they take to the bhakti cult, their happiness is not possible. Krishna clearly says, Ashraddhadhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapyamam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. The translation of this verse from Bhagavad Gita 9.3. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. Foolish persons do not know how risky life is here if one does not follow the instructions of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, has been started so that by practicing Krishna consciousness, one can avoid the risky life of this material existence. There is no question of accepting or not accepting Krishna consciousness. It is not optional. It is compulsory. If we do not take to Krishna consciousness, our life is very risky. Everything is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, to learn how to become free from the miserable condition of material existence, Bhagavad Gita as it is the preliminary study. Then, if one understands Bhagavad Gita, one can proceed to Srimad Bhagavatam. And if one advances further, one may study Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are therefore presenting these invaluable books to the whole world so that people may study them and be happy, being delivered from miserable conditional life. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So towards the end of this chapter, describing the pastime of Krishna showing the universal form to Mother Yashoda in his mouth, Bhagavatam is describing that the purpose of Krishna's appearance, Krishna's incarnation, is specifically to spread devotional service, which is the ultimate goal of life for all human beings, so that those who are born in this material world may very easily be delivered from the miserable condition of materialistic life by accepting this devotional service. Here, this devotional service means the devotional service that is spread by Krishna when he appeared 5,000 years back. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada elaborately explains that the basic principles of devotional service are explained by Krishna himself when he spoke to Arjuna and recorded by Vyasadeva. So this Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of Krishna's instructions, and they are further detailed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where the principles are illustrated in the life of great devotees and even in the activities of the incarnations of the Supreme Lord. And even further, Bhagavatam is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Srila Prabhupada says at the end of this purport, we are therefore presenting these invaluable books to the whole world so that people may study them and be happy, being delivered from miserable conditional life. Conditional life. Unfortunately, people in today's world, many people, not all, but many people are not aware what is the real cause of their suffering miseries. Without understanding the real cause, their attempts to get rid of those miseries will always be a failure. So these scriptures, especially the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, clearly point out that this material world is a place of miseries. Just in one verse, Krishna sums it up. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti. If one attains me, mamupetya, punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti. One does not have to take birth again, punarjanma, where dukkhalayam ashashvatam, in this material world which is characterized by two characteristics. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Dukkhalaya, we have heard the name of the Himalayas. Himalaya. Why is it called Himalaya? Alaya means filled with. So Himalaya is filled with what? Hima, snow. All the time there is snow. Though it doesn't snow always, there's no snowfall around the year, but still the mountains are filled with snow. So it's called Himalaya. Similarly, the same sense in which in the Bhagavad Gita, this material world is described by Krishna as Dukkhalaya, filled with dukkha. And the second characteristic of this material world is because people They accept, yeah, there are some miseries in this material world. Though they may not agree, it is filled with miseries. But Krishna says, even if you make some adjustment, Ashashvatam, the second characteristic is, life in this material world is always temporary. Ashashvatam. And in contrast to this temporary life, filled with miseries, that's Krishna's statement. There is the spiritual world, Krishna's personal abode, which is filled with transcendental bliss. Anandamaya abhyasat. Several times we have discussed this in the previous chapters. Krishna's abode is Anandamaya. Maya means again filled with. What is Krishna's abode filled with? Ananda. And Ananda is different from Sukha. Sukha is, technically speaking, Sukha, Dukkha. Sukha and Dukkha are two characteristics of material world. There is material happiness called Sukha and there is material distress called Dukkha. So, Ananda is transcendental bliss. It is not material happiness. It is spiritual happiness. It is called, to distinguish it from material happiness, the term used in English is bliss by Prabhupada. And in Sanskrit also, this word Ananda is used for spiritual happiness or transcendental bliss. And material happiness, Sukha. So throughout the Bhagavad Gita, this distinction is made. And Krishna says, come to me, come to my abode. And then my abode is characterized by Anandamaya. It's filled with transcendental bliss. And Shashvata. It is eternal life. It's not temporary life. Here you see so many people, they work so hard, and some of them, they're successful in accumulating so much of wealth and getting so much of knowledge and having very great influence, but everything is temporary. Even Brahma, who's got a fantastic long lifespan compared to all of us, at least the earthly beings, our lifespan is insignificant compared to Brahma's lifespan. Compared to our lifespan, which is like about 100 years, 100 years. Brahma's lifespan is 311 trillion years. But even Brahma is afraid of death, as much as all of us are afraid of death. Brahma doesn't think, oh, my lifespan is so very long, because time is relative in this material world. We are living our 100 years, Brahma is living his 100 years. The ant is living its 100 years. Everyone lives their 100 years. So for the ant, it may live a few hours, but it is born, it grows up, then it stays for some time, then it reproduces, and then its body deteriorates and it vanishes. The same 6 changes that human beings undergo. Brahma, he doesn't have to experience old age, he doesn't have to experience dwindling. His position is, he is called one of the permanent governors of the universe. This is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Even in the Bhagavatam it's explained. Chira Lokapala. Lokapala means governor. And he is the governor of the universe. There are 3 governors in this universe. You would have heard their names many times. Trimurti. Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Their position is not changeable as long as the universe lasts. The entire duration of the universe, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, their positions are held by 3 personalities whose tenure of holding that position cannot be changed. Other than these 3 personalities in this universe, everyone else's position is changeable. Of course, there is one more exception. That is the personification of material nature, Durga Devi. First of all, Durga Devi doesn't belong to this world. Durga Devi belongs to the spiritual world. Neither Vishnu belongs to this world, nor Shiva belongs to this world. So, among the 4 personalities whose position doesn't change, 3 of them, they don't belong to this world. Durga Devi, Vishnu and Shiva. Because of that, you find, at least in our country, so many temples everywhere. Vishnu temples, Shiva temples and Durga temples. Am I correct? Everywhere you go, you'll find some Shiva temple, some Durga temple, some Vishnu temple. Everywhere, everywhere. Because they don't belong to this world. They are special personalities. But Brahma, even though he is a living entity like all of us, Jiva, but his position is very special. Why? He is born from Vishnu. He is born from Vishnu. He is the first created being. And his position is going to last for the entire duration of this universe. But he is a Jiva. So because he is a Jiva, he is subject to birth and death. He is born and he has to die. But Vishnu, Shiva and Durga, they don't have birth, they don't have death. That way, even we don't have birth and death according to Bhagavad Gita. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. But that no birth or no death applies to our soul, our real self inside the body. Our body is subject to birth and death. Similarly, Brahma also, his body is subject to birth and death. Then what about Vishnu, Shiva and Durga? Why are they singled out as separate from all the other jivas? Because when they appear in this world, they don't appear in a material form. They don't accept a material body. Vishnu, Shiva and Durga, they don't accept a material body. So therefore, they have no birth, they have no death. Even in terms of the body or the form, they have no birth, no death. Whereas everyone else, including Brahma, as far as the body is concerned, the body is born and it is going to die. The lifespans are different. Brahma has the maximum lifespan among all the creatures who are born and who die. Brahma has the maximum lifespan. Again, Brahma's death and birth both are special. That's another reason why Brahma actually, even though he's afraid of death, actually he doesn't die like others. He doesn't die like others. What happens to Brahma? At the end of his life, end of the duration of the universe, Brahma quits his body, but he directly goes to the spiritual world. Guaranteed to go to the spiritual world for Brahma. But all others, they may go if they are eligible to go. Otherwise, they take birth again. So, this difference exists between Brahma and all of us. So, Brahma's position is actually unchangeable in that sense. Chiralokapala. But still, because Brahma has got a material body, the fear of death is there. The fear of death is there. And Brahma, he thinks that he is going to die, and therefore he has got that fear of death. You see? So Krishna says that if you attain my abode, like Brahma is going to get Krishna's abode, then you don't have to take birth again in this material world. How do we attain Krishna? Very simple. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante. Krishna promises this. You will attain me if you do 4 things. You always think of me, manmana, bhavamadbhakto, you become my devotee, madhyaji, you worship me, mam namaskuru, and you offer your respects to me, you bow down before me. So this he says in a very, very concise way in the Bhagavad Gita. But elaborately it is explained in the Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is very elaborately explained. So we have come to the 10th canto. In the 10th canto, Krishna's incarnation is described in detail by Shukadeva Goswami in response to Parikshit's inquiry. Parikshit was inquiring about so many different subjects. But when it came, when Shukadeva Goswami mentioned that in the Yadu dynasty, Yadu Vamsha, the Supreme Lord appeared as Krishna. And he briefly described, just like he has described the other incarnations, he briefly described Krishna's incarnation at the end of the 9th canto. Immediately, Parikshit, at the beginning of the 10th canto, he requests Shukadeva Goswami, please describe in detail about Krishna's incarnation. And so many questions he asks about Krishna's incarnation. Those many questions he never asked about other incarnations. So, Shukadeva Goswami is describing Krishna's incarnation in detail. Therefore, as I mentioned a few times earlier, 10th canto is the biggest canto in the Bhagavatam. 90 chapters, 90. Other cantos are smaller, much smaller. So, because Krishna's incarnation is special again, that Krishna appears in this world specifically for spreading devotional service, as it described here in the verse, so that those who are born in this material world by force of karma can very easily be delivered from this miserable condition of material existence simply by accepting this devotional service. And that's exactly what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. You take to this devotional service, and I will guarantee that you will attain my abode. Krishna also describes in the Bhagavad Gita the speciality about his appearance. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san. Krishna is actually unborn, Aja. And we are also Aja. As spirit soul, we are Aja. In the Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter, Krishna describes the living beings, the spirit souls. Characteristic is Aja. Ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. When your body is destroyed, you are not destroyed. So we are also Aja. But here Krishna says, Aja, I am unborn. We are also unborn. But there is a difference. What is that? Krishna's form is, in which he appears in this world, is avyayatma. Avyaya means transcendental, imperishable, never deteriorates. My transcendental body never deteriorates. Avyaya. So our body is vyaya. Our body is subject to destruction. Destructible, it's destructible. Krishna's body, transcendental form or transcendental body, never deteriorates. Then Krishna's position is different from our position, even in this material world or in the spiritual world. Bhutanam ishwaropi san. Bhutanam means among the created beings, I am the Lord. I don't appear as subordinate to somebody. Krishna takes birth, we also take birth. But we take birth in a subordinate position. Even Brahma is born, he is also subordinate to Vishnu. Vishnu appears, he is not subordinate to anybody. What about Shiva and Durga? They are not subject to birth and death. They don't get a material body, but still, their position in the spiritual world and the material world is subordinate to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Their position is subordinate. Shiva and Durga. So, except for Vishnu, all the personalities in this material world are in a subordinate position. They are in a subordinate position. To whom? to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, in this verse, Drona and Dhara, they are telling Brahma, please permit us to be born on the planet Earth so that after our appearance, they are mentioning some personality will take birth as their son. That personality they describe as Mahadeva, Vishweshwara, Hari, three different terms they use. Mahadeva is the supreme person, the supreme personality of Godhead. And Vishweshwara, the master of all planetary systems. Vishwa Ishwara. There's so many planets in this Vishwa, in this universe. Vishweshwara is the supreme Lord of all planets. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Sarvaloka maheshwaram. There are predominating deities for each planet. But one personality is the supreme master of all the planets. That is Krishna or Vishnu. So Vishweshwara and Hari. Hari is the Supreme Lord. Hari, the Supreme Lord. He is the Lord of all lords. So, that personality, after the appearance of Drona and Dhara, will also appear to spread devotional service. So Prabhupada says in the purport, this statement by Drona clearly indicates that Drona and Dhara are the eternal father and mother of Krishna. They actually are eternal father and mother of Krishna in the spiritual world. In the material world also they appear, but they are actually eternally the same father and mother of Krishna. One more point Prabhupada points out very clearly is that nobody can be father and mother of Krishna other than these two personalities, Drona and Dhara, or Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. But the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who are ordinary living beings, they can also get affection for Krishna as exhibited by Nanda and Yashoda by following in their footsteps. So this is elaborately explained in the Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that bhakti begins with sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means practicing devotional service according to rules and regulations. We have to follow the rules and regulations of bhakti. Just like we have been instructed, chant Hare Krishna. Very simple, but still there are some rules. If you want perfection, attain perfection by chanting Hare Krishna, you should chant every day. You should chant a fixed number of times. You should chant, at least you should be able to hear what you chant. Don't chant in the mind. Chant by vibrating your tongue. Sevon mukhehi jighvadau. This is also explained in so many places in the scriptures, how to chant. Chant audibly. You should be able to hear what you're chanting. And then, not only chanting, but also you should hear. Hear attentively. Because what happens if you hear attentively? When you hear attentively, that sound vibration of Hare Krishna, which is Krishna himself in the form of sound. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Shabda Khe, I am the sound of ether. So all sounds in this material world are actually a representation of Krishna only. But one sound vibration, the sound vibration of his holy name, is different than all other sounds. What is the difference? The other sounds are representation of Krishna. But the sound of Krishna's name, Krishna, this sound, is Krishna himself in person. He is the complete personality appearing as the sound. One very interesting thing, Vasudeva explains it's explained in the 11th canto. Vasudeva, he is performing sacrifices in Kurukshetra. When Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra had gone from Dwaraka to observe some solar eclipse, from Dwaraka they went to Kurukshetra. Then all the others also came to see Krishna from different places. So Vasudeva had gone with Krishna, the whole Yadu clan, all the Yadavas, they had gone. So Vasudeva, he decided that they have come to the holy place. So many sages have come. Of course, they've all come to see Krishna. But still, take advantage of their presence, he decided to perform sacrifices, guided by the sages. So while he was performing sacrifices, Narad Muni spoke and told Vasudeva, you are not aware that this Krishna and Balaram, whom you consider as your own sons, they are not ordinary personalities like all of us. They are the Supreme Lord. They are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As if Vasudeva did not know. Actually, Vasudeva knew. But still, taking a humble position, after Narada spoke, Vasudeva began to speak to the assembly. He began to glorify Krishna and Balaram. And from that glorification we can understand Vasudeva knows who is Krishna and who is Balaram. So Vasudeva says, whatever we speak, after all, everything we speak, it is made up of words. Words are made up of letters. And those letters are some simple units of sound. E in local language, or in English, A, B, C, D, E. All the words are constructed from these letters of the alphabet, correct? Whatever word it is. But how do these combinations of different letters make sense to us? When I say table, T-A-B-L-E, how do you understand the sound of this word table as meaning a piece of furniture? So Vasudeva says how these words, which are simply combinations of different letters, how they become meaningful. Because Krishna infuses meaning into it. Krishna actually
enters that sound and the sound becomes a meaningful word. Have you ever thought about this? Nobody thinks about this generally. So many words are there in the language, but every word has got a meaning. Every word has got a meaning. So that meaning is because Krishna infuses meaning. Without Krishna infusing meaning, the words are simply some sounds. Just like, if I do like this, what meaning is there? I'm producing some sound. Right? But this is not a sound of some word in the dictionary. Therefore, this has no meaning. Only certain combinations of letters which form words, which is there in the dictionary, which is recognized as a language, only those sounds have meaning. If you simply say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, what sense does it make? A, B, C, D. No sense. It's not a word. It's not a proper word. Correct? Same way, you have so many keys on the harmonium. Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. This Sapta Swara itself you take. Simply you say Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni. What sense does it make? If I simply sing Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, it will not be considered music. But when combinations of those swaras make raga, a particular pattern, so pleasing to hear. So pleasing to hear. That is music. So how does that become music? And simply some odd combination. Somebody doesn't know to play harmonium, they'll simply keep on pressing the keys. Somebody will say, stop this nuisance. If you know to play, you play properly. Others don't play. So how does a particular combination become very melodious to hear? Krishna enters into it, and that becomes music. Shabda Khe. In 2 words, Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita. We can't understand that. We read the translation, I am sound in ether. The translation is given. But Prabhupada explains this in the 11th canto. In the Krishna book he explains. Sorry, in the 10th canto, not 11th canto. 10th canto. Prabhupada explains this. Vasudeva says, my dear Lord, all the sounds that we use to communicate in a language are meaningful because you enter into that sound and you make it meaningful. So why I am telling this is, the preliminary things in the Bhagavad Gita are explained in detail in the Bhagavatam, are explained in even more detail in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Therefore, Prabhupada says, we have presented these invaluable books to the whole world so that people may study them and be happy, being delivered from material conditional life. You simply read Prabhupada's books, you'll get deliverance. Or somebody cannot read, simply chant Hare Krishna, the way Prabhupada has taught us. That way you should chant. You'll get deliverance. So that is Prabhupada's greatest contribution to this entire world. I'll stop here. Tantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Today, Today there is going to be a volunteers meeting at 12 noon in Sridham Hall. All devotees who have rendered seva during Vaikuntha Ekadashi and Rath Yatra and our regular Sunday volunteers are requested to attend this meeting at 12 noon today in Sridham Hall. Second announcement is, All book distribution teams are requested to settle their books and accounts by 6 p.m. today. Today is the final date. Kindly cooperate. Devotees who are involved in book distribution past 2 months, kindly settle your accounts today by 6 p.m. Hare Krishna.